and welcome to the second day of Bookmas. And today I wanted to talk about my favorite book to movie adaptations in 2018. And since it's the second day of Bookmas, I'm going to talk about two of them. And to be fair, let me just tell you, I actually only read and watched 3 book to movie adaptations in the entire year, and one I really hated the movie, so picking my 2 favorites was pretty easy. But I do have to say that I enjoyed both of these. I thought they were both great adaptations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the summary of the book, talk about what I liked and didn't like about each adaptation. And both of these were movies that came out in 2018. So the first one I wanted to talk about was Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. And the movie is called Love, Simon. And so I rated the book itself 5 stars. I read it before I watched the movie, and I really enjoyed the book. So for those of you who don't know, it is a very popular book, but in case you haven't read it or watched the movie, this is a story about a teenager named Simon who hasn't come out to his family or his friends that he is gay yet, but he starts an online relationship with another boy, and then another boy in his class sees his emails to this boy, Blue, because they're using code names, and he threatens to basically blackmail him to get something he wants, and says, yes, Simon has to do what he wants or he will out him to the whole school. So that's the basic premise of the book, and I just really enjoyed the book and the way that the relationship developed through the emails, the mystery of who Blue is, and not knowing till the end who is this person he's talking to, and the family relationships, the friendship relationships. I liked all of that in the book. And then I watched the movie, and I rated the movie I would say a 4.5. I mean, I don't usually rate movies, but for this purpose I thought about it, and I would rate it a 4.5. So I didn't like it as much as the book, but I thought it was an excellent adaptation and a really enjoyable movie by itself. And so I'm just going to talk real quick about some of the pros and just tiny bit about the cons, because I didn't have that many cons. So my good things about this adaptation was I really did like the actors they chose. I like the main character, Simon, is played by Nick Robinson. He is one of the young actors of this time that I think is really good. If you haven't seen Kings of Summer that has him in it, you should see that movie. It came out a couple years ago, I think, and it is like a coming of age story, like where these boys run away or and like living on their own in the woods, and it is excellent. And I know that's a tangent, but just saying, if you like Nick Robinson and Love, Simon, you should definitely check out Kings of Summer. But back to Love, Simon. So I really enjoyed his casting. I know I was going to mention cons later, but just talking about casting real quick, the only thing that bugged me was Leah, because in the book, she's supposed to be a plus-size character, and I mean, there's even a spin-off novel that's focused on the fact that she is, like, her feelings about being a plus-size person, and the actress that plays that is definitely not plus-size, so that kind of bothered me, because that's just like Hollywood, once again, not wanting to go out of the, stereotype of what kind of actors should be in a teen movie. So that bothered me in the casting, but other than that, I really did enjoy the rest of the casting. I liked the way they did the emails, because you never know when you do any kind of letters or emails in a book how that's going to translate to a movie, and they did it with a voiceover and kind of changed the voices depending on who Simon was guessing Blue was, and I liked that, because that kept us guessing too, that we're like, oh, well, maybe this is the person, but then they would change the voices, and I enjoyed that. And I did like the way the plot moved really well, but they didn't take out a lot of the important themes, because often when you have to do an adaptation, you have to shorten the book, which is fine, but I felt like they kept all of the really important points of still having family, still having friendship, all those issues wrapped up into the movie. And then my absolutely favorite part of this movie was the parents. And I know that sounds probably weird because it's a teen movie, but myself being of the age I am a parent. I'm not a teenager anymore, and though I like YA books, sometimes when I watch movies that star teens, I don't connect with them as much as I would like a book for some, it's just the way of being transported when you actually see the people on the screen. But when I watch shows and movies that involve teens that have the parents and have them being loving parents and really talking to their kids, it like really touches me. I actually watched this movie with my mom, and we were both like crying when the parents were having the conversations with Simon, and like expressing their emotions towards him. And it was just the way, parents should be, of like listening to their children and loving them. And then the cons, like I said, it was a 4.5 stars, so I didn't have a lot of cons. I just had 2 things that like made it less than the book for me. And one was the mystery of like who Blue was. I felt like in the book she was able to create that mystery more, because she had a lot more. Like I think that there was at least 2 more like possibilities of who Blue was in the book than there was in the movie. And I understand for time constraints you can't add a ton of characters in, so I get that they would lower the amount of them. But I did like in the book that I didn't guess. I mean, I did guess, but I guessed like several people. I didn't like just have like, oh, this person is definitely Blue. And so I liked the mystery aspect of it more in the book. Where in the movie, I felt like there was a lot more like clues of who it was. And that could just be because I had already read the book first, so I can't say that I should fully judge that, because both my mom and I had already read the book, so we can't like say, but I felt that might have been lacking a little bit. And I don't want to say because I don't want to give spoilers, but I didn't fully love the ending as much as I did in the book. And like I said, I don't want to spoil it, so I just thought that the ending in the book was really cute, and the movie was a little too Hollywood cliche for me, where I thought that the book was more touching. So that's it. I'm not going to give any more specifics than that. And then my other favorite adaptation of the year was To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. And I gave the book 4 stars and I gave the movie 4 stars. So I liked them evenly, but I liked them for different reasons, if that makes sense. Because I did think they were different, and there was different things to like in each one that made it all come out even in the wash. And for those of you that don't know, this is about Laura Jean, who is a teenager who she has written letters to all of her past crushes and hides them away. Like, she's not actually gonna give them to the boys. It's more just cathartic. And then one day all the letters get sent out, and so she has to deal with the ramifications of all of her crushes knowing that she had liked them at some point. And the things I loved about the movie was I thought that Laura Jean was a better character, and that was part of why the book was 4 stars. Her character was not my favorite, but I thought they did a good job in the movie of making her a lot more relatable and a lot more likable, and that some of that is probably the casting and then the way they like scripted her character. So I thought that was a better character. I also thought her best friend Chris was a much better character in the movie than she was in the book. So in general, I thought they did a better job beefing up some of those characters in the movie than in the book. I just didn't really have a lot of people in the book that I like loved as characters. Because I also really loved the youngest sister, Kitty, in the movie. They had a really sassy actress playing her, and that was fun. Another thing I loved about the movie was like the whole 80s John Hughes vibes. I am a child of the 80s, so I grew up watching like, Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles and all of those. And she even referenced, like Laura Jean even references some of these 80s movies in To All the Boys I Loved Before, which I loved as an 80s child. And you can see some hints of it in the music and in some of the ways the director shot moments. It had a throwback to the 80s, and so I enjoyed that because it gave me those nostalgic feels in the movie. And I thought that the ending was better in the movie than the book. I know why, because it was kind of more open-ended in the book than it is in the movie. And movies, you just want it to end and have a conclusion. And they probably didn't know if they were going to continue to the other movies. I think now they have confirmed that they are going to continue. So those were the things that I liked better about the movie the two cons that I had, they're basically like two characters and relationships that I thought were a lot less developed in the movie, and that was the character of Josh, who's the boy next door, and the older sister Margot. I know that in a movie you have to kind of cut down some of the things, and so I'm sure they wanted to just focus on Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky. Man, I can't say his name. They wanted to focus on that fake dating trope in the movie, but I think it lacked a lot of the heart of the book by losing some of that sister friendship moments. Like, I didn't really feel a lot of that in the movie. And also the Josh character, I never really liked Josh in the book, but I felt that he at least had more scenes and more moments of like being a viable option and being like, who's she gonna end up with? Where I felt in the movie we hardly got any of him. Like, I still didn't like him. Like, they didn't improve his character, but they also just didn't put him in very much. So there's like a moment in the movie where they're having kind of a emotional talk back and forth, him and Lara Jean, and I was like, where did this come from? They haven't even been interacting for most of this movie. Like, so if you hadn't read the book, I can imagine you being like, oh, what's his problem? Because he's just getting upset, and they haven't really even shown that they have a friendship or anything. So that, I think, it just wasn't developed enough. Just didn't have time or something in the movie. They wanted to focus on the cute fake dating trope. So those are just my opinions. Those are the two movies that I did enjoy. Both the movies, I enjoy both the books, and I do look forward to if they do the second book and, what is it, P.S. I Still Love You. I have to read that next year, and then I would look forward to if they did a second movie of that. And that's all for me today. If you have any comments about these books or movies, or if you have adaptations you watched this year, I do want to watch more. I just didn't have time to watch a lot of movies this year. So put them down below if you have other book to movie adaptations you really enjoyed in 2018. All right, bye.